So, did you hear the news that made Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker even worse than it was originally?
I did not. I know you sent me briefly something about the nature of Palpatine's resurrection.
So, just like with Watchmen, you're right, but you're wrong at the same time. So, apparently, you were telling me in our Rise of Skywalker review, which, by the way, for those of you wondering, we did a Rise of Skywalker review. It's like 2 hours long. It's a Patreon exclusive. So, whether you're supporting me or Preston, it's on there. Don't worry about it. Just prepare yourself for insanity, because you do go crazy after like 10 minutes.
Trying to explain it all. Okay.
But no, so you were saying how this Palpatine coming back has to be a clone. There's no other way. And I was arguing against you, saying that can't be, because you can't clone Force users, because that would be too ridiculously overpowered. Like, then why not have like an army of Jedi?
I mean, what about Luke Skywalker?
Who?
Luke Skywalker from the Thrawn trilogy. Remember they cloned Luke's hand into a full body? Luke Skywalker?
No fucking way. That was a thing? I don't remember that being a thing. That was a thing?
I think at the end of the Thrawn trilogy, Luke fights like a clone of himself.
I don't remember that. Holy shit, that was a thing? I remember Mara Jade, Joruus C'baoth, Thrawn, and Paleon, of course, but I don't remember that. That happens?
Yeah, he was a genetic clone of Luke Skywalker, grown from the hand that he lost at Cloud City. Yeah, now I'm trying to remember what it was part of. I can't remember if it's actually part of the Thrawn trilogy or not.
Holy shit, that sounds awful, but oh my god. Well, regardless, so you were right, but you were wrong at the same time. So that
Okay.
is a clone, but not like his spirit dies when Vader throws him over into the thing in Return of the Jedi. His spirit leaves before his body dies. His spirit leaves the body and enters the clone body that was being made far, far away.
Right, kind of like in Dark Empire. Like
Kind of like in Dark Empire,
he
yeah.
just moves to a different clone body. I mean, it would have made more sense had that clone body on Testicle been
Wait, what?
the name of the Emperor's planet.
What did you call it?
Testicle.
No, that's not it. That's not it at all. I actually...
Exegol, right?
Exegol, yes. Thank you.
Yes. It would have made more sense had that one been like really old and dealing with everything, and then he just kind of sent out his like clone minions of himself. But you're saying he like died and he transferred his consciousness from the shaft all the way to Exegol.
Yes. Yes, that's exactly what happened. And the Rise of Skywalker novelization expands on this and other things. But the reason everybody was so confused is because if it was a clone body of Palpatine, then why did he have like the scars that Mace Windu gave him in Episode 3? Exactly.
I'm not sure if the Exegol guy did.
He did.
Yeah?
Yeah, he did. That's why that's why Mike from Red Letter Media was so confused about it. So it's a clone. The reason that he needed to switch bodies all the time is because his power was so great, it was deteriorating the body. Not to mention, they made more clones of him, but they kept failing and failing and failing because I guess only the cloners on Kamino have like the perfect technology for it. Either that or it's really hard to clone a Force user because, yeah.
So, I mean, he's definitely looking like a ghoul, but so specifically when Mace Windu like attacks him and he like gets those forehead ridges and all of that, like the thing is an Exegol, he's got his hood up. I can't really see his body I can't see his face too much. So I'm not sure if he has the scars or not.
Well,
I mean, granted, he looks like a ghoul.
yeah, well, that's
But originally, when I always thought the whole needing to scar Palpatine was a ridiculous thing. I just assumed beforehand that like using the dark side of the Force like made you into a ghoul,
right,
over time. That was just my assumption.
Well, using the dark side of the Force gives you the eye, the creepy eye thing, the orange eyes. According to this, Rey's father is also a clone. Apparently, Rey's dad is a test tube failure, and that instead of just killing this failure, Palpatine just let him live to continue on the bloodline, I guess.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not apparently not quite an identical clone, but his son nonetheless.
So Palpatine was not really like going around banging women and like raising families.
Mm-hmm, pretty much not.
He was just creating stuff in the lab.
Right. So I'm also wondering. So if Snoke's were a bunch of clones, then was he, when he was controlling Snoke, was he somehow moving? This is where it gets confusing, because most of the clones didn't have the ability to use the Force. Otherwise, why not transfer his essence into those clones, right? So that means all the Snoke clones that we've seen couldn't have used the Force. It had to have been Palpatine using the Force from the shadows?
I mean, can't he create force sensitive clones?
No. Like, he tried and he failed every time. That's why I guess he needed Rey.
Oh, is this in the novelization that
Yes.
creating force sensitive clones was like a problem? Mm-hmm. Even though Snoke clearly can use the Force?
No, that's what I'm getting at. Like, Snoke was never able to use the Force. I guess it was Palpatine controlling him from the shadows.
That's some powerful, I mean, Force ability.
Yeah,
He's
right.
All the way from Exegol, he's
Exactly.
Maybe
He can force choke people or like move people around like all the way from over there. Then why do you need a clone body in the first place to move around if you can just do it from one place? See how it gets fucking confusing and stupid?
Maybe Snoke is like a relay. Like he needs like a relay. Something, you know, so you can kind of control Snoke. Like Snoke on his own can't do the Force, but if he's connected to the Emperor, then he can kind of do this like short. I don't even know why I'm coming up with explanations. Like it's just.
The other big reveal from the novel is that Rey and Ben's kiss wasn't romantic.
What? I mean, what's the? Then what the hell was all that sexual tension for?
So apparently, according to this, his heart was full as Rey reached for his face, let her fingers linger against his cheek, and then, wonder of wonders, she leaned forward and kissed him. A kiss of gratitude, acknowledgement of their connection, celebration that they found each other at last. So it wasn't a kiss as in I like you, it was a kiss as in thank you.
That just, like, first of all, I just cannot believe that. And I cannot believe that in the sense of how the actors were portraying the characters. Like if there was one thing that, you know, Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver were able to successfully do, like as actors, was create really weird sexual tension, right? Mm-hmm. Like they were successful because both of them are really great actors. They were successful in creating, you know, like a real like sexual tension, which is weird, you know, but like it creeped us out, but that was great. But to have like, no, this kiss is platonic. Like, no, ridiculous. Do not believe that for a second. I don't care if it's written in the official novelization or not. Like, you can only go so far. Okay? I am not going to bottle up my Adam Driver sexual tension and claim that it wasn't there. That's ridiculous. Okay? There's some things that just go too far.
The Rise of Skywalker just seems like a shittier version of Dark Empire mixed in with some of the like the legacy stuff, which is essentially like Han Solo and Leia have twins, a boy and a girl, and the boy of course becomes, you know, Darth Caedus or whatever they call him, and his sister has to redeem him by taking him out. So I guess that's why Rey and Ben couldn't have been twins or brother and sister, because I guess they needed that sexual tension, which was there. You're right, it was there. Every Star Wars trilogy has, like, you know, that tension between you know, two people, with right. Luke and Leia kinda at first, and then Han and Leia, and then Padme and Anakin, and now Rey and Ben, and it just they're just going back on it, and that just kind of seems a little. And
I don't even know why. Like why does the Star Wars universe need to be so sexually repressed? Like it just doesn't make sense to me. Like we can kill people by the billions, blow up planets, but God forbid some people share a romantic kiss.
Well, I think it's all Disney because I'm watching the Clone Wars right now, and they have this like they just released the final season. And
Yeah.
when they were originally showing us what the final season would have looked like years ago, before they decided to make it, they had a moment where remember those gunships that the clones used? This
Yeah,
this clone trooper group called the Bad Batch spray painted Padme in a very sexual way on one of their gunships, and Anakin sees this and he gets upset. In the Disney final like edition of it that just came out, they removed that scene, unfortunately. So I feel like it's all Disney kind of doing this.
And I don't really understand, like I don't understand the double standard of violence is okay for kids but not sex. Like I just don't get it. Like on that level, it's not even very much sex. It's just like a little bit of romance, a little bit of innuendo. Like that'll destroy a child, but like you know, dismembering people right and left is like fine for the kids.
Yeah.
You know? Like it all doesn't make any sense to me. People are really screwed up. I actually I used to live in Egypt, and you know they were pretty sexually repressed people. But I remember, you know, on TV they have violence constantly, but they would cut all the kisses from the movies. You know, and stuff like that. I remember being at a pool, and a couple friends of mine were like in the pool, and you know, they were a couple, and they were just kind of like holding each other in the pool. And I remember the lifeguard coming over and being like, "Oh, what are you doing? There are children here." And it was just like, are the kids gonna be, their minds are gonna get warped and destroyed because two people are like holding each other? Like, I don't. But in his mind, you know, yeah, that like showing any sort of romance is apparently bad for kids, but violence, perfectly fine.
Perfectly
It's
fine.
so backward. It's so backwards. So fucking backwards.
Yeah. It's a shame they couldn't have done Dark Empire, man. I would have liked that much better. And they even took some ideas from Dark Empire, like Luke
Yeah,
force
I mean, they're
projecting himself.
they're clearly stealing Dark Empire ideas. Yeah.
At least, and
And I mean,
what's funny is the Emperor was young in Dark Empire, right?
yeah, he went into a young clone. I think a couple of them.
So why couldn't have he they had, I feel like they had the idea with that with Matt Smith, the guy who was the Doctor from Doctor Who, and I think
Yeah.
they kind of just like decided not to go with it. I would have loved seeing Rey fight a younger Palpatine. That would have been cool.
That's true. But I think they just were like, well, we got the actor back, so it's all fine.
Might as well use him.
Like that was the most important thing, is like getting Ian McDermott back or whatever.